Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, January 23rd. It's 4:30 p.m. And this is also a Zoom meeting. It's being recorded to be broadcasted on the internet on YouTube and also Zoom meeting. Call to order.
Patrick McGovern, present.
Joanne Wilson, present.
Chica present. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America.
To the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we take item 5C out of order to accommodate.
Second.
Aye.
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 Okay, all in favor?
So,
You want to take the lead, Jim?
yeah, so I'll give you the background, the owners of 956 Stonegate Landing, Eric and Jessica are here. They are looking to have a kennel license at their property. According to our current regulations, they don't have the minimum lot size requirement to obtain a license as right. So therefore, they need an action by the board to do so. I understand that none of the abutters are in opposition. In fact, I believe most of the abutters are in favor. We animal control officer did call today and send her endorsement for the issue. It's a relief. So unless the applicant has anything to say, we're looking for approval from the board to allow them to operate a kennel, residential kennel, that is, at their location, which has less than the 35,000 square foot required by the regulation.
Is there a stipulation on the size of the kennel at home?
No, there is not. I believe you have 4 dogs.
It's gonna be 4, so, the 3 dogs that we have, their mom was eligible for retirement. So it's not gonna be for breeding purposes or anything, it's just to have mom home with her 3 babies.
Okay, so there's no idea of expansion at another time? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I'll vote to approve it.
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the kennel license for 956 Stonegate Lane.
I second.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, carries. Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good luck.
Appreciate that. You guys have a good evening.
You as well.
So,
No,
You have your application with me, so once it gets signed, it goes over to Stacy. So if you want to come in tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
all right, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
thanks.
Good night.
Good night.
thank you, boy.
All right, animal inspector's not here. Mr. Health Inspector, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, the health agent's not here either. She's at a family gathering. From the health director's perspective, yeah, I have a couple of things I'd like to talk to you about tonight. The first one is software. I know we've all talked about software ad nauseum. And I want you to know that I had to do a temporary stay on our software development because the Mass Public Health Consortium that the town nurse and former member, Nicole Bello, spearheaded some time ago, is actually offering software to the town and all towns within their regional district free of charge. What I mean free of charge, I mean it's not going to cost the town of Dayton, the Board of Health, anything. It's paid for through the grant, which is a federal and state funded grant. So it is being paid for by taxpayers. It's just not coming from the taxpayer operational budget for the Board of Health. So in light of that, I obviously don't want to have 2 software programs going on. It would have been nice to have the software program that interface with mine. However, I'm willing to see this through. I have the contract on my desk. If you so choose, I can forward that along and move the process through with the state. And I would just say let it evolve, see how it works out. It seems like they're putting a lot of time and effort into the program, so we'll check all the boxes. And then we can just make any tweaks we need to on our side so that our internal program can either interface with it, or we can just have some type of back and forth between the two. So, but at this point, I would just say, put ours on hold. We'll see how the state one plays out. And then I can report back once it becomes operational. They're also going to provide the devices. So the iPads will also be paid through the grant. So we don't have any expenses associated with it.
So the town of Dayton's not paying either, it's just the state.
Correct. The only thing I haven't found out yet is whether or not they have internet capability. And if there is internet capability, will that be a charge that we have to assume? Because now they have to go live in order to have data. That answer has not been, a question has not been answered.
All right. Well, either way, we'd have to do that anyways, right?
Correct. So at the very most, it seems like maybe we'll have the monthly expense to get them so that they can interface with the internet.
Right.
But I haven't gotten that answer yet. So that's good. That's a good thing as far as I can see. That grant runs through, if I'm not mistaken, don't shoot me if I'm wrong, but I think it's at least a 4 or 5 year program. We're in year 2, so it's going to go for at least another 3 or 4 years. So we should be in pretty good shape.
Good.
What happens after that time period? Take it over and start making our own payments? Do we have to get a new program at that point? I mean,
So my opinion on all this question is I think this is the state's trial run at how regionalized health departments work. So I think at the end of the 5 years, they're gonna collect all the data. They'll either get a new grant round, keep it going. And then we'll start to have discussions about regionalized health departments, or at least regionalized inspections.
right,
So I don't want to be naive. I really think that's what's happening.
I see that.
And I said that publicly before, so it's not new. If it's a flop and it doesn't work, then I suggest the grant, I suspect the grant will just expire. And then at that time, we'll have to revitalize our software efforts.
Okay,
But I don't plan on getting rid of the software vendor that we have now. I'm
Right.
staying with them. So if that happens, we'll just do the same thing we started previously.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions?
No, cool. Thanks, Jim.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Do you have anything on the overdue trash vendors, the trash bags for the vendors account?
I believe the office manager prepared a spreadsheet for the board tonight.
Yep. Anyway,
I would like to say that, I was away on extended vacation, as some of you know. While I was away, the chairman wrote a letter to Hannaford's. It was a well-written letter, and it's to have been, received because the dialogue between Hannaford's and the department has been ongoing since that letter went out. Both Elizabeth and I have talked with them, on emails. They are actively searching all of the actually, I think it's beyond 45 days. I think they're current fairly much within the last 45 days. Anything well beyond that, they're actively searching through their accounts receivable, accounts payable departments to try to figure out what happened to those. I think there's at least one check that they're going to reissue from that era. But other than that, they're still doing their diligence on their side. That said, I believe most, that number, we know is in excess of $20,000, but that's stayed pretty static. Their current receivables are not more than a month and a half out. So I think we're in pretty good shape. Obviously, we're gonna do everything we can to collect that outstanding monies. And it doesn't seem like Hannaford's is in a position, at least at this point, to contest that they owe us that. They're just doing their diligence. I know we've been talking about this for a while, and I know it's frustrating. But it's just, in my opinion, the larger the corporation, the more difficult it is to get this all figured out. Plus, they changed hands on a corporate level in between there, which further exacerbates the issue. But it seems like we're actually making some headway. You have anything to add, Elizabeth?
No, everything all the good points.
So I appreciate you sending that letter out, Mr. Chairman. I was away. It's very well written. And
Thank
it
you.
obviously was well read.
All, I wanted them to get their attention. We have to get something done. Hopefully by next meeting, we'll have a lot more progress. Anything more on that, Jim?
Well, thank you.
Okay. All right, now for new business, well, that was crossed up, for new business. Patrick, you wanted it on the agenda. And I agree, we need a regulation workshop. And what I'd like the workshop to be is the board and the staff members. And we did the last workshop, found out I was wrong, when you wanted to be part of it, and I said, well, we'd have to make it a public meeting. We don't, if it's a workshop, so all of us can be involved.
Okay.
We don't all have to be there at the same time. The input from you guys, my thought is to meet with everybody, to get their input and use that information to bring it to the board, and then as a board, we can decide what we want to do. Right now, I know we got permits that we need to figure out. And as we go along, I think there's gonna be plenty of other things that come up. But we really don't have any concrete regulations.
This wasn't, this was something that I wanted brought up only to start out with on the permitting aspect of things. We've had a lot of change in the board over the past couple of years, and there's been a lot of stuff that Elizabeth has been trying to find in a workflow that she's been trying to create. But we haven't really given her a pathway. We haven't really said that it's this is how we do it. I come from the newer end of business where the older thought process in business was, I know the process, it's in my head. Obviously, when things change hands, that information never gets left.
Right.
And Elizabeth got left with a permitting process that was her first time doing it. She was not unaware of the process, but she had to find out how it was done, with very little guidance from the board, as well as people that were in her place before her. I just think it's a bad time of year to do permits, because you're coming into the holidays at the end of the year. I don't like the December 31st deadline because, Jim was away, people are celebrating holidays. I want to have a workshop to come up with a process and deadlines, and I want to focus this first workshop on permits.
Yes.
And our permitting process. And I want to create a policy to send to, or not a policy, like an outline to send to the businesses to say, listen, if you want these permits, this is our procedure. These are our deadlines. This is, whatever. And we will talk more about it in a workshop, but
Right.
I want all the paperwork to be in by a set day. And then I want us as to be held just as accountable, saying that the permits will be out by this day. As long as X, Y, and Z is in, and we don't have to chase them, that this can be submitted and returned to you within 14 days, whatever the workshop comes out to be. But we need it designed, the businesses need to be aware of it. I think we've just been, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I just think as a small town, we've been a little lax in some of the stuff we've done. And, we know that so-and-so's corner market has always been here for a long time, but unfortunately, as we move forward, we need to have set guidelines, because if something happens, we can't just say, well, it's always been done that way.
And recently, the past few years, the owners of the stores have changed a lot.
Right. So there needs to be some kind of process. So I wanted to do this workshop just to and I know as we do this and as Elizabeth and Heather get settled and Jim gets settled in his role, that we're going to come out with more things and say, we need a process for that, which is fine. We can have more workshops, but we need to start somewhere. We need to have some kind of, workflow to how we get things done.
Right, that's why I put down the regulation workshop,
Yeah.
because it's part of the regulations, but
Right.
Obviously, yes, I wanted to do.
Yeah, so my goal is, the first one was permits. Obviously, I was unaware of the fact that we can all be there. I was gonna offer to take it on and work with the staff, but if we can all be there, then input's great from everybody.
And we don't have to do every meeting with all of us.
Right.
Depending on, you know,
I mean, I think we have a workshop with everybody together. We bring our ideas to a table, we get something, and then a couple of people from there can work on in a workflow and an outline, and then bring it to the board for a regular meeting. I don't think it needs to be something that's dragged on for a long time. I think a workshop with ideas, and then a couple of people can run with it, build it, and then bring it to the board. If we have to, if we run into snags, it can go into another workshop to kind of straighten it out, but I really think just one workshop to kind of brainstorm, and then we can build it.
right.
It shouldn't be that big of a process, honestly. I've been thinking a lot about it, so I have a lot of it already in my head that I would like to go with, as long as people are kind of on board with it.
And Elizabeth, didn't you say just before COVID, they Todd's extended the permits?
Yeah, the year COVID, so the permits used to expire July 31st and 2019 to 2020. They changed it so the permits expired to December 31st that year, so they extended everybody's license for an additional 6 months. So in 2019, everybody had an 18-month license.
So this had nothing to do with COVID.
No, it was just that year. I don't know if it's because people were locked down and things were.
Yeah, but they weren't locked down yet because we didn't get notified of COVID-19 until March.
I don't know why it was extended.
Right.
I don't remember the rationale behind it. I do remember them changing the expiry date. And there was some discussion about how do you change the expiry date? And the only way is to extend it by a period more than 12 months and then not charge for that, because you're the one changing the date.
Right.
I don't know why it was moved from July to December.
Right, but it's an option. If it got moved, we can always move it back.
Yeah, I actually, if I may, I think this is a great idea. What I found out is there were absolutely no operations in this department that were standard. And that needs to go away. You know, it drives me crazy, it drives everyone in the department crazy. So, however, that said, I think the board should be an integral part of it. Because honestly, when we have discussions and we debate and we usually come up with the
Right.
best thing possible for the department and the people. So I think this is a great idea. I agree with Patrick that the most important thing is permitting. Let's get the permitting straightened out. But there are a slew of other things that I'd like to
Right.
discuss.
Sure.
That said, I will tell you, I've been a member of workshops on various levels, some of them including both chiefs, town administrator, and lots of people, selectmen. I can tell you at the end of the first workshop, you pretty much know where things are going. Because people want to get this banged out, let's figure it out, everybody comes to the table with good ideas. We flushed them out, we left every meeting I had on a certain topic with a plan in draft, then it just had to be polished for approval. So I don't think this will get drug out. I think if we come to the table ready to get to work, this will be pretty easy.
Yeah, we worked out, me, Stacy, and Elizabeth worked out the livestock one.
Right.
Pretty quick when we came in and just kind of sat down and put our heads together, so.
But like you said, Jim, we're gonna start with the permits, but this is not just about the permits. I mean, we're not gonna drag it on, but the workshop probably is gonna get dragged on because not dragged on. So, for lack of better words. We have several things. We need to finish up the permits first.
Right, well,
Then the workshop can go into,
we'll tackle one at a time. We don't, if we walk through the door of a workshop with 50 policies that we want to work on, it's never gonna, you need to Jim's point, you need to come in with a clear set of goals, a clear topic. Bang out that one topic and then move on from there. If we have to do another workshop for another topic as they come up, we'll do it.
I agree 100%. I just didn't want to have to get a vote to do a workshop every time a subject comes up. So if we have the workshop, we can go with the permits first. And then once that's settled, we'll figure out what else is coming up. And then we'll decide what's the next topic that we need to address.
Yeah, I mean, if we leave it on there as a regulation workshop, it can move into old business and can be discussed for updates every month and
Right,
we don't have to vote on another workshop.
exactly. That was my only point. Now, the other one that had the idea, you said that you were willing to go with it. Do you want to lead it?
Yeah, I'll take on the permits for first workshop. I don't mind.
So, could you send out an email, some of your ideas that you had, so we can review them when we're all on the same page before we get to the workshop? That might save some time as well
Yes,
to review.
yeah, sure.
Thank you, Patrick.
Can I get a motion to have Patrick lead the workshop?
Sure, I make a motion to have Patrick chair the workshop in permitting.
And I'm gonna step down to second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that carries. And
Question, are you looking at a time frame?
I would like to do it as soon as possible. I mean, with the fact that permits are done and we're kind of on a break until the end of the year. But we also want to get it written up. We have to get it, everything settled. I'm sure it has to go before the Board of Selectmen. And then, you know, we're already gonna be into February and it's gonna
it only comes in front of us.
fall pretty quick.
We don't have to go to the selectmen.
Okay. It's still, I mean, there's gonna be a whole bunch of things that are gonna
Yeah.
come up and it's gonna go.
July, it's gonna be a lot sooner than later. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Then we're.
So,
There's a
yeah, I'd
lot
like
we
to
gotta
do it
fix.
soon. I can't do anything next week. I'm tied up with a big rollout of work. But after that, then the second week of February, if we want to get something together before the next Board of Health meeting. I'm all for
That'd be good.
Sounds good.
Any other questions?
Want me to send out like a meeting invite and then
Yeah.
see if the date works for everybody?
it.
Just,
When do you, want to do these at night, during the day?
Can
Myself, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I'm just thinking about the staff.
we figure it out?
you know, when people work, that's fine. With enough notice, we can make arrangements, so I wouldn't worry.
I can talk to Elizabeth too and send out a couple days that,
And I'm gonna do a point of clarification on the workshops, but I want, it's an informal meeting. And just so everybody at home knows, no decisions are made, that's why it's a workshop. All of the results of the workshop will come back to a public meeting in an informal setting. Be talked about, be itemized, and then we voted on, if they so choose. So no decisions will be made, but it's a little less informal. Point I was gonna make is if we have late day meetings, sometimes we order pizza, have pizza. And that sort of breaks the ice, gets everybody in the mood to just, let's get this thing done. Nobody sitting, waiting, starving and everything else, you know? So,
Nobody can think on an empty stomach.
right,
Maybe Heather will bring us cupcakes.
okay.
What do you bring, a prime rib? Anything else on this? Okay, I think we pretty much just about covered everything. Did anybody think of anything, not reasonably anticipated for this meeting?
just on the next item down, where are we? Are we all set with permits?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I put that on there just in case A didn't go through. That would
Okay.
be backup that we can discuss that, but
Okay.
now that we've all voted on the regulation workshop, I don't think we need to talk about the permanent agreement and whatnot. Now that can be talked about in the workshop.
Right, okay.
Jim, you get anything unexpected?
The only unexpected question I have to give, not to go back to the permits, but everything for this year is all set, correct?
Yes, there are.
Sorry, you wanted to, I forgot.
That are being finalized, but everybody has been in, correct?
One missing.
Okay.
Who's listening?
You're done.
Oh,
And so now knowing that, nothing has come in for that establishment, it will be visited on Thursday of this week.
good. Because I know it's already been visited and talked.
She's gotten hold of me twice, and she said she was gonna email me everything and come and bring the application, but she hasn't done it yet, so. I've made contact with her, just no action has taken place.
Oh, we can have Heather look into that on Thursday.
Yep, Thursday we'll look into that.
Yeah.
All right, anything, anybody, anything else? Any public input? We don't even have any public.
Zoom. Oh,
Nope.
Participants.
Just us.
We have boring meetings, I guess. All right, then, next to approve the minutes of November 28th, 2023, special meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of November 28th, the special meeting.
Second,
Aye.
aye.
Okay, minutes of. Harry. Is the adjournment? Have a motion to make adjournment?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second,
Aye.
aye.
We adjourn at 4:56 PM.
Great job, everybody.